Reporting live from Brianna's newsroom headquarters, we have just been alerted about a situation occurring in Toronto, Canada. With the heavy rainfall and heavy predicted spring rain, Toronto is preparing for intense flooding. Toronto is extremely vulnerable to the effects of flooding since it's the largest metropolitan city in Canada, including the main city of Toronto and the surrounding areas known as the GTA. Over the past decade, the total amount of impervious land in Toronto has increased from 47.9% to 49.2%, while still on the rise. In 2019, 113 hectares of land was allocated to commercial use, 349 hectares were allocated to residential houses, and 155 hectares were allocated to utility and transportation. Meanwhile, pervious surfaces have decreased by 6.9% over the last 2 decades. In addition, Toronto is made up of 9 watersheds, including the Etobicoke Creek, Mimco Creek, Humber River, Don River, Highland Creek, Rouge River, Petticock Creek, Duffins Creek, and the Crusaders Creek. These watersheds naturally collect and channel rainfall and snowmelt, which then flows into nearby streams, rivers, and Lake Ontario. However, with the rise of urbanization, impervious surfaces have increased within these watersheds, which reduces the land's ability to absorb water by the soil and the vegetation. As a result, extreme flash floods and snowmelt generate high volumes of surface runoff, leading to overland flooding and the overwhelming of Toronto's stormwater infrastructure, as a result, making the city vulnerable to flooding. The main type of flooding that Toronto experiences is repeated urban overland flooding, in which excessive amounts of water flow overland and overwhelm the drainage systems, causing water to seep into buildings through windows, doors, and cracks. This is the most common type of flooding experience and has many contributing factors. Factors that contribute to the urban overland flooding are as followed: fluvial flooding of the major rivers, intense rainfall leading to flash flooding, and significant snowmelt that exceeds the ground's ability to absorb the water. All of these factors contribute to the urban overland flooding that the City of Toronto and the Greater Toronto Area experiences. Now, this is not the first time that Toronto has seen urban overland flooding caused by snowmelt, intense rain, and fluvial flooding. Repeated flooding in Toronto has been occurring for decades. However, as Toronto undergoes major infrastructure developments, it now sees approximately 1 to 2 major flooding events per year in the most recent years of data collection. Toronto's experienced several significant flooding events over the years, causing extensive damage to infrastructure, homes, and businesses. One of the most devastating recent events occurred on July 24th when a severe storm dropped over 100 millimeters of rain, with some areas receiving up to 125 millimeters. This storm overwhelmed drainage systems, submerged the Don Valley Parkway and Lakeshore Boulevard, and caused over $940 million in insured damages. Just a month later, on August 17th, 2024, another storm produced 128.3 millimeters of rainfall in a single day, resulting in $100 million in insured losses. Similarly, on August 7th, 2018, an overnight storm produced up to 120 millimeters of rain, leading to urban flooding that required rescues from vehicles. Floodwaters also entered key buildings such as the Scotiabank Arena, Rogers Centre, Union Station, and caused up to 80 million in insured losses. Historically, Toronto has faced multiple extreme rainfall events leading to urban flooding. The July 8th, 2013 thunderstorm delivered 126 millimeters of rain, causing flash flooding, widespread property damage, and transportation closures, totaling in $940 million in insured damages only. On July 26, 2009, a storm stalled over western Lake Ontario, producing up to 110 millimeters of rain in just 2 hours, flooding 7,000 basements and causing $173 million in losses. Other notable events include the June 22nd, 2015 flood, which overwhelmed sewage systems after 110 millimeters of rainfall occurred at the Pearson Airport, costing $29 million in damages, and the July 8th, 2016 thunderstorm, which produced heavy rainfall and hail. Additionally, past floods such as the April 20th, 2000, July 31st, 1992, February 18th, 1981, and August 27th, 1976 highlight the ongoing vulnerability of Toronto to extreme weather events. The city's most devastating historical flood was Hurricane Hazel on October 14th, 1954, where it brought over 210 millimeters of rain in just 2 days, severely flooding the Don and Humber rivers and other local waterways, marking a tragic milestone in Toronto's flood history. The repeated urban overland flooding in Toronto has a wide range of effects, impacting various sector stakeholders and infrastructure. The key stakeholders that are significantly impacted are residents, homeowners, and insurance bureaus, while commercial and transportation infrastructure face serious damages when flooding events occur. Flooding of homes not only affects the integrity of the infrastructure, but also the health of its residents. Overland flooding allows for water to infiltrate through cracks, windows, and doors, causing basement flooding, structural damage, and mold growth within the walls, leading to costly repairs. In addition, after a flooding event, buildings are quickly colonized by mold, fungi, and bacteria, which can cause or aggravate skin, allergy, eye, and respiratory problems such as asthma and conjunctivitis. Not only are residents and homeowners' physical health affected by Toronto flooding, but their mental health also takes a toll as well. A study by Claire French showed that residents in flood prone areas showed elevated levels of mental health concerns, in which residents living in flood prone areas were 7.77% more likely to have depression, 4.16% more likely to have anxiety, and 14.41% more likely to have PTSD than residents living in non flood prone areas. Flooding in Toronto poses significant risk to not only the people, the infrastructure, but also to insurance companies, which bear substantial financial burdens. When urban flooding occurs, insured residents file claims, leading to insurance companies incurring losses ranging from millions to billions of dollars per major flooding event. These financial strains harm their operations, potentially resulting in employee layoffs. For instance, a single flooding event in July of 2024 caused insurers to lose over $1 billion dollars in payouts for flood related damages, while in 2013, floods resulted in $850 million dollars in insured losses. Consequently, insured companies may increase their premiums and, in some highly flood prone areas, withdraw coverage altogether, causing financial strain on residents but preserving the insurer's financial operations. Flash flooding in Toronto has severe consequences for commercial infrastructure, causing extensive damages to major buildings and small businesses alike. On August 8, 2018, heavy rainfall events escalated into a flash flood, impacting several key locations. The Scotiabank Centre experienced significant water infiltration just before a scheduled Shakira concert, while floodwaters also damaged the Toronto City Hall, Rogers Centre, and Union Station, leading to $80 million dollars in insured losses. Similarly, the July 16, 2024 flooding event, Toronto City Hall suffered severe overland and flash flooding, with water seeping through the cracks in the doorways, destroying carpets and requiring extensive repairs to the flooring and ceiling tiles. Restoration effects took months to complete, and the total damage across the affected areas amounted to $940 million dollars. Beyond major infrastructure, small businesses have also borne the financial burden of flash flooding. During the 2024 floods, Evergreen Brick Works Cafe sustained $300,000 in damages, requiring replacements of tables, coffee stands, wooden fixtures, food supplies, and the flooring. The consequences of flooding extend beyond immediate structural damage, as improper repairs can lead to mold, fungi, and bacterial growth, which pose serious health risks. These issues underscore the widespread and lasting impacts of flooding in Toronto and affect both the economic stability and public health. Flash flooding in Toronto has caused extensive damage to transportation infrastructures such as roadways, subways, and airports. Major road networks, including the Don Valley Parkway and Lakeshore Boulevard, have been repeatedly forced to shut down due to heavy rainfall. Following severe storms, these roads have been described as resembling a brown, turgid river due to extreme water accumulation. The Don Valley Parkway is particularly vulnerable to flooding as it's built on a floodplain, making it prone to rapid water accumulation and frequent closures. Additionally, clogged storm drains filled with debris from heavy rainfall reduce the drainage efficiency and accelerate water buildup, further weakening the road's integrity. In some cases, overwhelmed storm drains have led to sewage spilling onto the city streets, exaggerating the crisis. Beyond roadways, flash flooding has severely impacted underground transit, particularly the Union Station subway system. As floodwaters overwhelm surface streets, water infiltrates the subway through connection pipes and exterior staircases, waterlogging the rails and compromising the infrastructure's integrity. Sewage and stormwater backups have further degraded the station's conditions, leading to hazardous public health risks. The Toronto Transit Commission has stated that during major flooding events, subway trains must bypass Union Station, causing hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost revenue, and significantly disrupts the city's transportation network. Flooding has also severely impacted Pearson's airport, with one of the most notable events occurring in 2015, when a storm dropped 110 millimeters of rain, causing $29 million in damages. The heavy rainfall flooded runways, taxiways, aircraft maneuvering areas, and access roads, leading to flight delays, cancellations, and physical infrastructure damage. Additionally, the stormwater runoff exceeded the drainage capacities, causing sewers to back up and release sewage onto the airport surfaces, creating further hazards for the airport operations. These repeated flooding incidents highlight the vulnerability of Toronto's transportation system and the need for improved flood management and infrastructure resilience to protect the city's economy and public safety. Over the past 2 decades, annual precipitation in Toronto has steadily increased, with rainfall totals rising above 800 millimeters since 2003. The most dramatic spike occurred between 2012 and 2013, when precipitation levels surged beyond 28.7%, marking a significant shift in the city's climatic patterns. As rainfall continues to increase, flooding events have become more frequent and severe, causing widespread damages to homes, businesses, and transportation infrastructure. The total financial impact of flooding in Toronto remains uncertain, as many residents lack insurance coverage to report losses. However, in 2024 alone, Toronto residents filed $7.7 billion in insurance claims for flood related repairs. Given the historical and ongoing costs, total flood related damages are estimated to be in the hundreds of billions of dollars, with future losses expected to rise. Beyond financial costs, public health is at risk as floodwaters introduce waterborne pathogens and diseases into homes, leading to short term and long term health implications. With annual rainfall increasing, flash flooding, overland flooding, fluvial flooding are expected to intensify. To prevent further devastation, the City of Toronto must prioritize and implement effective flood mitigation strategies and long term solutions. Over the past decade, Toronto has taken significant steps to mitigate the impacts of flooding on its infrastructure and surrounding communities. The city has embraced a combination of soft green solutions, such as low impact developments and the Green Roof Bylaw, alongside hard gray infrastructure initiatives, including the Don River Project. Although there are many more soft, hard, green, or gray flood mitigation strategies in place, these strategies reflect a proactive approach to managing flood risk while promoting sustainable urban development. Low impact developments are designed to mimic the natural water cycle by increasing stormwater infiltration into the soil where it is absorbed by plants or filtered into underground aquifers. However, urbanization in Toronto has replaced permeable surfaces with impermeable materials such as roads and parking lots. This reduces the natural infiltration, increases runoff, and contributes to flash flooding and pollution in waterways. By implementing low impact developments, these negative effects can be counteracted. One way the City of Toronto is integrating low impact developments is through bioretention and rain gardens. These gardens are low cost, environmentally friendly, and aesthetically pleasing, providing both functional and visual benefits to urban landscapes. According to the Toronto Region Conservation Authority, rain gardens absorb runoff from impervious surfaces, preventing excess water from entering storm drains and waterways, where it could introduce pollutants or cause sewer backups. Since they are strategically placed next to roads, parking lots, and other paved surfaces, they help reduce surface water accumulation, ultimately minimizing urban overland flooding and flash flooding. Another key low impact development strategy implemented by the TRCA and the City of Toronto is permeable pavement. Parking lots, driveways, and some roads are now being constructed using permeable materials to restore natural infiltration, reducing stormwater runoff and its impact on watercourses. Permeable pavements allow rainwater to slowly filter into the ground, reducing flood risk and protecting downstream infrastructure. There are three main types of permeable pavement: molded interlocking concrete blocks. These consist of impervious concrete blocks with interlocking voids filled with gravel or soil, allowing for water to infiltrate into the underlying reservoir. Porous asphalt. This material has larger aggregates and fewer fine particles, creating small pores that allow water to pass through the surface and into the soil below. The plastic grid system. These consist of interlocking plastic units with no impervious surfaces, allowing for high levels of stormwater infiltration while preventing water from pooling on the surface. Permeable pavements are highly beneficial as they reduce stormwater runoff, minimize flood risk, and protect downstream infrastructure from water damage. Additionally, they help remove contaminants from infiltrating stormwater, improving water quality, and enhancing overall urban resilience to flooding. The project was initiated by regional conservation authorities, including the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority, Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, and the Credit Valley Conservation, which function as NGOs. The TRCA launched its initiative to mitigate the negative impacts of urbanization on water resources. Toronto has experienced repeated issues such as increased runoff and urban flooding, making these efforts essential. The project's goal is to promote low impact development techniques that manage rainfall at its source, mimic pre-development hydraulic conditions, and reduce stormwater runoff volume. To support this, the TRCA provides guidance, tools, and resources to developers, municipalities, and other stakeholders to encourage the widespread adaptation and adoption of LID practices. As Toronto urbanized, the expansion of impermeable surfaces outpaced that of the permeable areas, leading to significant environmental challenges such as the urban heat island effect, insufficient stormwater management, and unsustainable development. To address these issues, the City of Toronto implemented Bylaw number 583, the Green Roof Bylaw, the first of its kind in North America. This bylaw mandates that any building or building addition constructed after January 30th, 2010, with a gross floor area of 2,000 square meters or more must incorporate a green roof. The required green roof coverage varies based on the building size, ensuring that larger structures contribute more significantly to stormwater management. Since the implementation, the City of Toronto has received over 400 applications for green roof construction under this bylaw as of 2016. Green roofs play a critical role in urban flood mitigation by absorbing and delaying stormwater runoff, thereby reducing strain on the city's drainage systems and improving water quality. The vegetation and soil media in the green roof naturally regulate and promote efficient water and chemical cycling, filtering pollutants before the water reaches the storm drains. The stormwater management benefits of the green roof come from their ability to retain water, enhance evapotranspiration, and gradually release excess water at reduced flow rates. As a result, green roofs contribute to effective stormwater management, significantly reducing the risk of urban overland and flash flooding while promoting a more sustainable city development. The City of Toronto initiated the Green Roof Project and implemented Bylaw number 583 in 2009 to address increasing urbanization challenges, including stormwater management and flood risks. Prior to this, in 2005, the city tasked Toronto Metropolitan University, formerly known as Ryerson University, with studying the impact of greening large rooftops. Research showed that greening rooftops could significantly help by retaining stormwater, increasing evapotranspiration, and releasing runoff gradually, which would reduce the strain on the city's drainage systems and lower the risk of urban flooding. Based on the evidence, the city moved forward with this bylaw, which has since resulted in the diversion of approximately 11 million liters of stormwater annually, leading to stormwater management cost savings of at least $100,000. The Don River Project, officially known as the Don Mouth Naturalization and Portland's Flood Protection Project, is Canada's most significant active brownfield redevelopment initiative, funded by all three levels of the government. This transformative project aims to restore the natural Don River mouth, creating a healthier, more resilient river system while providing critical flood protection to 230 hectares of Toronto. Key components of the project include a 1,000 meter of new river channel and floodplain, the creation of 13 hectares of new coastal wetlands, and 4 hectares of terrestrial habitats. Historically, the Don River was straightened and rerouted for industrial use, eliminating natural wetlands that once controlled the flooding. However, this alteration compromised the stormwater infrastructure, leading to urban flooding as the river overflowed and sewage spilled into nearby communities and lakes during extreme weather events. The Don Mouth Naturalization and Portland's Flood Protection Project is a critical hard infrastructure intervention, designed to reintroduce natural river meandering and delta lake features, which slow stormwater flow and improves flood resilience. By restoring the natural function of the river and its channels, the project will eliminate flood risk for 230 hectares of urban land, while also creating green spaces, enhancing biodiversity, and promoting sustainable urban development. The Don Milk Naturalization and Portland's Flood Protection Project was initiated by the City of Toronto, Waterfront Toronto, and the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority, with funding from all three levels of the government. The project was launched to restore the Don River's natural mouth, reduce flood risk for 230 hectares of urban land, and enhance biodiversity. Historically, the river was drained for industrial use, eliminating wetlands that once controlled the flooding. This led to stormwater infrastructure failures and urban flooding and sewage overflows during extreme weather events. Now that you know the main ways that Toronto is trying to mitigate floodwaters, residents and taxpayers are wondering what the cost of these mitigation strategies is and who are going to pay for these projects. The implementation of bioretention and rain gardens has two sides. Residents and homeowners who want to install these gardens must pay out of pocket. For example, one Toronto homeowner reported that a 2-meter by 1.5-meter rain garden cost him approximately $1,000, including his own labor. This suggests that larger or multiple low impact development projects around a home would require even greater investment and funding. On the other hand, Toronto residents looking to create a community-led rain garden can apply for grants of up to $5,000 per project through Pollinate.to, providing financial relief for such initiatives. However, the City of Toronto has not disclosed the total funding specifically allocated for rain gardens or bioretention areas. However, as a part of a 10-year plan, the city is investing $4.5 billion into stormwater management efforts. A cost analysis conducted by STEP through the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority estimated that permeable pavement costs between $100 and $124 per square meter. This estimate includes regular maintenance and major rehabilitation costs over a 50-year period. In contrast, traditional asphalt was estimated to cost between $46 and $93 per square meter, but it requires a sealing coating every 3 years at an additional cost of $3.60 per square meter. Additionally, the life cycle cost of conventional asphalt assumes a lifespan of 25 years instead of 50 years. When comparing permeable pavement to the conventional treatment, analysis showed that permeable pavements were significantly more cost effective when considering their stormwater treatment benefits in the long run. These cost estimates apply to both residents who wish to install permeable pavement on their property and the City of Toronto for municipal implementation. For green roofs, the cost of installation is typically covered by the homeowner, the contractor, or the developer rather than the City of Toronto. To help offset these costs, the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority and the City of Toronto have introduced the Eco Roof Incentive Program. This program provides financial incentive of $100 per square meter of vegetated roof area installed, with a maximum grant of $100,000 per project. This incentive is particularly beneficial as the cost of installing a green roof ranges from $161 to $215 per square meter and continues to rise with the increasing construction costs. The Don Milk Naturalization and Portland's Flood Protection Project is estimated to cost $1.25 billion. Funding for this project comes from the Tri-Government Agreement, with contributions from the Government of Canada, the Province of Ontario, and the City of Toronto. However, taxpayers have also contributed to this funding through public fund allocations, as the project is financed by government resources. However, as infrastructure gets older, the costs of these mitigation strategies will increase. Thus, more immediate action needs to be taken right now. The City of Toronto is promising $4.5 billion to implement effective hard, soft, green, and gray stormwater management infrastructures, but each implementation has its own advantages and disadvantages associated with them. Bioretention gardens provide multiple benefits by absorbing excess water from the land and downspouts while enhancing the environment and supporting local ecosystems. Strategically designed with native plants, they naturally increase biodiversity by attracting pollinators and wildlife in urbanized areas. The combination of vegetation and soil improves water absorption, reducing flooding and preventing drainage system overload. Additionally, these gardens are cost effective in the long run as they help decrease stormwater runoff, extending the lifespan of municipal infrastructure and lowering maintenance costs. While installation requires an initial investment, the long-term savings on repairs and water management outweighs these costs. Beyond functionality, bioretention and rain gardens are easy to maintain, especially when using native plants that require minimal to no irrigation or no fertilizers. Their vibrant seasonal blooms enhance urban aesthetics, creating green space that support local wildlife and soften the harshness of the concrete landscape. By combining stormwater management with ecological and visual benefits, bioretention gardens and rain gardens offer a sustainable and visually appealing solution for urban and suburban areas alike. Despite their benefits, there are uncertainties regarding the feasibility of rain gardens for homeowners. These gardens require a significant amount of space and must be strategically placed near the house with the correct ground elevation to be effective. Not all properties may have the necessary conditions, making installation challenging. Additionally, extreme weather events pose concerns, as heavy rainfall can oversaturate the soil's pore space, leading to increased runoff and flooding rather than reducing it. While bioretention and rain gardens are intended to be cost effective and easy to install, some homeowners may struggle with the proper installation and maintenance of them. Those unfamiliar with the process may require professional help, increasing the cost. This can be particularly challenging for elderly residents or individuals with physical disabilities, who may face additional expenses for the upkeep. Consequently, while these gardens offer long-term benefits, their practicality varies based on space, expertise, and maintenance requirements. The primary advantage of permeable pavement is its ability to reduce stormwater runoff, alleviating the burden on municipal drainage systems during rainfall events. Unlike traditional pavement, which forces rainwater to flow over the surface, permeable pavement features open spaces or interlocking designs that allow for water to infiltrate directly into the ground, reducing strain on the stormwater infrastructure. Additionally, as water filters through the soil, it undergoes natural pollutant removal, leading to cleaner groundwater recharge. While this benefit does not directly prevent flooding, permeable pavements also help mitigate the urban heat island effect by absorbing it and infiltrating water, as well as supporting vegetation growth. It promotes a cooler surface, making urban areas more thermally balanced. One major disadvantage of permeable pavement is its high installation cost. It costs approximately $100 to $124 per square meter, significantly more than traditional concrete or asphalt. For properties that already have impermeable pavement, the cost is further magnified due to the removal process, which is both expensive and disruptive to the property. Another concern is the potential impact on surrounding homes. Since permeable pavement allows water to infiltrate the soil, there is increased risk of basement flooding and erosion of the underground pipes due to prolonged exposure to water and excess water movement. Additionally, winter maintenance poses challenges, as snow can accumulate in open spaces, making it difficult to remove and increasing the risk of ice buildup, which can lead to slipping hazards for pedestrians. Lastly, the space between the pavement units, often filled with soil, creates an environment for weed and grass grows, requiring consistent maintenance. However, since the vegetation is intertwined with the pavement, trimming or removal can be challenging. The primary advantage of green roofs is their ability to manage stormwater runoff effectively. By absorbing rainwater through soil and vegetation, green roofs can retain 70 to 90% of precipitation in the summer and 25 to 40% in the winter, significantly reducing runoff. This eases pressure on sewage systems and extends the lifespan of stormwater infrastructure by decreasing the volume of water that needs to be managed. Additionally, green roofs enhance energy efficiency by providing natural insulation. During the winter, they help retain heat, reducing heating costs, while in the summer, vegetation absorbs the sunlight for photosynthesis, preventing excess heat buildup in the building. Lastly, green roofs contribute to air purification by absorbing carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, converting them into oxygen. This reduces the atmospheric greenhouse gas levels, helping to mitigate climate change and its associated extreme weather impacts, such as increased rainfall. The biggest disadvantage of green roofs is their high installation costs. A green roof can range between $161 to $215 per square meter, not including additional costs for reinforcing the existing roof to support the extra weight. This is significantly more expensive than a traditional roof due to the specialized waterproofing, structural reinforcements, and drainage systems required to prevent infrastructure damage. Another major disadvantage is the increased weight load on buildings. The structural components, retained water, soil, and vegetation add significant weight, meaning older buildings may require reinforcement, further increasing the initial investment. Lastly, green roofs are prone to leaking, which can cause water damage and structural issues over time. The increased water retention can degrade waterproofing layers, and if a leak occurs, it can be difficult to locate since the water follows the path of least resistance through the unsaturated pore spaces. This makes repairs more costly and complex. The Don River project will significantly reduce stormwater runoff, preventing it from being released into neighboring communities and lakes, thereby lowering the risk of flooding. By restoring the floodplains, widening the river, and reintroducing its natural meandering, the project ensures that water levels during heavy rainfall and extreme weather events are controlled. The flood mitigation efforts will protect 230 hectares of land from potential flood damages. Additionally, the project supports sustainable urban development and reduces strain on stormwater infrastructure. The renaturalization process includes 1,000 meters of new river channel and floodplain, 13 hectares of new coastal wetlands, and 4 hectares of terrestrial habitats, which enhance stormwater absorption and ecosystem resilience. These improvements lower long term maintenance costs for the city infrastructure while encouraging environmentally responsible and sustainable urban planning in Toronto. The major disadvantage of the Don River project is its high development costs, estimated at $1.25 billion. This funding comes primarily from taxpayers in all three levels of government, which may lead to public opposition, especially among those who disagree with the project's priorities. Additionally, this cost does not include the ongoing maintenance and upkeep, raising concerns about securing future funding for long term sustainability. The construction phase has also caused disruptions to surrounding communities, including road closures, traffic delays, air and noise pollution, all of which affect residents and businesses. Lastly, despite aiming to restore natural ecosystems, the project risks disturbing existing habitats. Land clearing and watercourse modifications required for renaturalization may temporarily displace native wildlife before new habitats are fully established, potentially affecting local biodiversity in the short term. Toronto is experiencing intense flooding, including overland and flash flooding, which have severely impacted residents, homeowners, insurance companies, and critical infrastructure. In response, the City of Toronto, in collaboration with NGOs, have established mitigation strategies such as low impact development, green roofs, and the renaturalization of the Don River. These strategies aim to restore and manage stormwater properly, reduce flood risks, and enhance urban resilience. However, each of these approaches come with benefits, disadvantages, and significant costs. As urban infrastructure ages, the cost of implementation and maintenance will rise. Therefore, Toronto must accelerate and expand the adoption of these mitigation strategies to ensure effective flood management and long term sustainable development.